Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. So happy to welcome Kathy Gray and Heather Scott. They are from Not for Sale. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, Not for Sale. What is that? What is Not for Sale?
Not for Sale is a nonprofit organization that wants to bring awareness and education to our community about human trafficking.
And I think, Kathy, finally, people are beginning to be aware and realize that this is a problem. But can you tell me a little bit about how bad of a problem? What are we talking about?
Yeah, for sure. Well, Ohio is the fourth largest traffic state in our nation, which to me is mind-boggling that Ohio is that. But it is. And so in our community here in Stark County, we have that issue. So we're just trying to bring as much awareness as possible to our community to prevent this, because we shouldn't even be fourth in the nation.
Well, it's kind of crazy. That's a stunning thing to be able to say. And when you think there are 50 states, how on earth could ours be number 4 as far as human trafficking? Do we have any idea why this is?
Sure. I mean, if you're traveling anywhere, our interstates come through Ohio. No matter if you're going to the east or west coast, you're coming through Ohio. We're just a hub for that through Columbus. We got a lot of hotels in our area. So, yeah, it just becomes a good stop for it.
And when you're talking about infrastructure and hotels and commerce and so forth, these are all good things. We want these things for our area. But you're telling me that a very bad element hooks onto that and comes in with it, kind of leeches on.
Unfortunately, that's what's happening.
Do we have a way to identify who these people might be? How do you recognize a trafficker or a trafficking situation happening?
I think we can answer better how to recognize a trafficking situation, because a trafficker looks like any of us. It's not that they look different. They look like us. But the ways they're trafficking, I think that we can be more on the preventative side of things and be more aware. One of those things is they like to change the identity of children. So if a child is going to a hair salon and they're like 5 or 8 years old getting their hair dyed, that's a huge red flag.
Okay.
They want to change their identity. If they're getting their nails done, you know, I know little 8-year-olds or 10-year-olds will go with their mom and get their nails done. I get that. But if a man is bringing them in, that's something that we just want to maybe just be more aware of. It doesn't necessarily mean they're being trafficked, but it's something that we want to be more aware of. How's that child behaving? Is her behaviors different? Is she more introverted? Is she more quiet? Is she more reserved in how she's acting? Those are things that we can be aware of.
So watch the relationship, particularly if you see a man with a young child, particularly in a salon.
For sure. Or if a child's getting out of a semi, obviously that's not normal either. And we have seen that here in our community. And we had a lady call in to prevent that. And that was wonderful that she saw a child getting out of a semi realizing that's not normal. So she made that call. And it doesn't mean that that's a traffic situation, but it's something that gave her a red flag. So she just listened to her intuition.
When you say made that call, what call would that be?
She would just call the police. Any
Just
of us
911.
that see, absolutely. Just say there's a potential traffic situation and could you please investigate? And they will.
And I would think that anybody who then sees the police coming along just to check on him would be grateful as well. It's like, thanks for being on top of this.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Because this does look odd. Is it men? Do we have to be careful of some women who might be trafficking as well?
Oh, for sure. They will actually use their trafficked victims to traffic other victims. So unfortunately, especially with ages 8 to 18, they will use a trafficked girl or a trafficked boy to reach more kids. And so they'll use their social media to start luring those kids in, learning the children's day-to-day activities, what kind of lifestyle they have. They'll use those kids to befriend the new kids, and that's how they get trafficked.
Now, I know that one of your goals is to get into the schools and begin. So you've started Not for Sale is your own new 501c3. Well, congratulations.
No, we're super excited.
That's an undertaking.
Yes,
it is.
Tell me how this got started. What was the germination? And then how did it grow into what you are now?
Yeah, so, we 2.5 years ago, we had the passion to get under 821 and start this walk. I worked at Faith Family Church, and at that time, they were supporting us going in through this walk. And then last year, we decided, hey, we're it's time for us to break off and do this on our own. And so, along with Kathy, there's Corey and Jamie that we just linked arms and, okay, this is going to be hard. This isn't going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
So there's four of you that have been called to this. Let me back you up real quickly. What is A21?
A21 was established by Christine Kane, who's from Australia, and she started A21 as to abolish human trafficking in the 21st century. And one of the main things that they do is rescue and restore, and they're in all over the world. So when girls are being trafficked and they are found, they take them through a restoration program, educate them, get them back into their life with a new forms of
any kind of
like
new
sewing
income,
or
like a way to earn a living.
Thank you. Yes. So they also do a walk that happens all around the world on the same day. This year it's October 20th, and so we'll be linking arms with 50 different countries, walking at the same day. It is really exciting. So just hooking up with her mission. So as A21, you can have A teams. So that's how we got started. We were like, we want to be A team, especially when we found out that we were fourth in the nation. What can we do? So we started the walk, and now we want to do more than just the walk. The walk is part of bringing awareness, but then we also want to do the education part as well.
Yes. We're going to get to that. I'm stunned about where we rank. And I'm thinking, you hear human trafficking, it exists. You think, okay, that would be in other countries. Right. I know that's happening in other countries. But here?
In our own backyard.
In our own backyard. Not just in our country, but in our state and in our own community. And we need to stop it. Is there a reason for hope that we can say we can end this, not just curtail it, but make it stop? Do you feel we can?
I 100% feel we can. I mean, obviously, Jesus is our hope. So we have to cling to him and cling to what his word says, that we are to be the hands and feet of Jesus. So that's the main goal of our organization. We're just, three of us are moms, and we love kids. We love human beings. We just want to be there to prevent it, but also to save the kids that are already trafficked. So to us, there's always hope. But we also feel knowledge is power. And that's where we're lacking. We feel like in our community, there's just not enough awareness, not enough research, not enough knowledge that people have so that we can really work on saving the kids that are trafficked, but also preventing more kids from being victims.
Once a person has gone through this experience, my goodness, how could anybody except the Lord help this person be restored to the full person they are supposed to be? And I think the guilt that must come along with, not only did this happen to me, but I lured others in. The guilt that would go along with that. Can you tell us some stories of restoration, maybe that you've heard from A21, where somebody really was able to get a fresh, clean start?
Gosh, there's so many from A21 and even from locally that's happened. We have amazing local organizations like Rahab Ministries and Hannah's House that they're on the front lines. They're there to help these girls and boys. It's not just a girl thing.
Right.
I mean, boys are being trafficked as well, unfortunately. But they're there to help restore them and rehabilitate them. We have wonderful counseling programs in our community. And A21 has it globally. They do the exact same things. They work closely with law enforcement to try to find these trafficked kids. But we're grateful that in our community, we actually have these wonderful organizations that we can help link arms with and help these kids.
Yeah, we have a story of a woman that was trafficked in high school, and every night she would go on her barefoot feet, and the trafficker would pick her up, and then she would come back home. Her parents had no idea, 3 years of doing this. And years down the road, she was driving, and God gave her an idea about putting soap bars in hotel rooms. And I mean, it has just exploded. This is a great ministry, and getting and actually Path's ministry pays to have those soaps put in our local hotels that has information if you're being trafficked to call this number. But that's something where she experienced that, but because she knew, like, hey, after you're trafficked, you're in the bathroom and you're cleaning up, and she knew those girls were going to grab that soap bar. And she has she's actually been on TED Talk, stories of girls that have actually been restored because of the soap bar.
That's awesome.
So it's great they're able to take something that the devil meant for harm and use it.
And use it for good.
Yes.
There you go. Well, you have a walk coming up. That's one way we can help and participate. Tell me about that.
That's October 20th. It's a Saturday. Starts at 9 a.m. registration, and then we start the walk actually at 10 o'clock.
And where will you be?
We will be at Bitzer Park in North Canton, right in the heart of North Canton. So it's local, but we're going to have all different kinds of amazing organizations from our community there, because our hope is that we can get more volunteers for them, because we're all called to action. To us, this is definitely a community problem. And now that we're aware what's happening in our community, we have this moral obligation to try to prevent it.
Let's park there a second, because I'm looking at two young women who you said, of the four of you, several of you are parents. Yeah. You're in a busy stage of life right now. And you were living your lives, and suddenly you get this call, this undeniable call saying, I want you to do something about this. Tell me how that happened, how and when, and why are you doing this? Gosh, you could be doing so many other things this afternoon.
You hear the stories of these children being trafficked, and what can I do? You hear it in third world countries. Oh my gosh, this is happening.
Yeah.
What can I do? I can't go over there and help them. I don't know where they're at. I don't know. You can give money. It just doesn't seem enough. Like, I want to put my foot to the pavement. And when I saw PT-1 was doing the walk, I'm like, that's something we can do here in our community. This is something I can hook up with. And once you get into it and you're like, okay, this isn't enough. What else can I do? Yeah. And you start finding, other women like Kathy last year. She was part of the walk. She was one of our head volunteers. And she was like, I'm so good at administration, and I have these, and I was like, oh, thank God. And so we just were like, come along with us. And she has been amazing in this journey. And obviously, we would have been in a missing piece if she wasn't along with us and starting a nonprofit.
So you really have seen the Lord just put together the puzzle.
Exactly.
Yes. We need this and this and this and this, and there's
100%.
four young ladies.
An army.
Yes. Are there ways other people can volunteer with you? What can a person do? I mean, we'll be on the lookout. When we're in hotels, we will be watching for anybody looking funny. Or when we get our hair done, our nails done, we will be watching for anything odd. Is there something else to be watching for? And how else can we help you?
I think the one thing that we all could be watching for is just how we're handling social media. I think a lot of the problem, I know from what we've been told through FBI agents and law enforcement, that social media is one of the ways they are luring our children. And it's a big way. And I think as parents, we have to take more of a proactive approach, knowing what our children are doing on social media and knowing who they're talking to. Because we learned a term just last week speaking to an FBI agent that they're grooming our kids. And I didn't understand what that grooming word exactly meant. So I asked, what do you mean by grooming? And she said, quite honestly, it's a lot of mind manipulation. They are definitely befriending the children and learning their lifestyles, learning who they are, what they do, what they like. And that is how they're building that trust, if you want to call it that, to be able to become trafficked.
It's a con job.
It honestly is.
Do they pretend to be somebody they know, or do they pretend to be just a brand new friend that they happen to stumble across on social media? I think it'd be very easy to warn your kids, don't make a friend on social media. Just become friends with people you already know.
They typically try to just befriend you from just trying to learn who you are. And they'll use other trafficked kids. So obviously telling our kids, do not befriend anybody on social media that you don't actually know and see and have a relationship with. But then there are those traffickers that are people you know, that are relatives, that are an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend. You just have to be very aware of what you're putting on social media and what you're telling people that you're doing and where you're at and things like that.
What would you tell parents to do about social media? I mean, it's such a huge thing to get your arms wrapped around, get your head wrapped around. Yeah. So to say, be careful with what you're posting on social media, what does that look like? Let's get down to the nuts and bolts, and we will do that after we take a little bit of break. I'll give you a chance to think about that answer. But we do need to take a pause here. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.